Welcome back to Alt Majority. I'm Shay.
I'm Shannon. Thanks so much for coming. On our channel, we like to talk about spiritual awakening and law of attraction and all sorts of weird universe things. So, today, what we want to talk about is how um, different spiritual practices have helped us get to where we're at. Basically, what are the greatest ones that we found? What are the practices that we have found to help us along our way? We've been on a journey together and separately as we all are in this earthly experience. So part of what we like to do is really just like talk about what's been going on and talk about how we can progress. So thanks so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you, thank you. I'm noticing this weird shadow behind my head. It's dark and rainy here today where I'm at in the world, and I'm in the midst of moving. So that is, I'm in a new space. If you feel some new type of energy coming off of me, I am in a new, much bigger space. And so that's where I'm at right now. And I'm super excited for this conversation.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As we all move along in life, things change. So this is good because that's just part of when we talk about being on the spiritual journey and spiritual awakening. Part of it is just like integrating the things that happen to us along the way. So when we think about what are some of the things that we can do, what is our greatest spiritual practice? One of the things that I would say to begin with is just to live in the present and to let go of the past.
Hmm.
That's it. Just live in your present. Everything changes. Expect things to change. Know that things are going to change. And just know that you have the power to change your earthly experience, your daily existence. You have the power to choose what that's going to be, regardless of what has ever happened. And I know that sometimes it seems easier to say, hey, let go of the past, than it actually is to let go of the past.
Hmm.
But at the same time, we really can't go forward on any type of spiritual journey when we're hanging on to things that have happened before and we're spending time and energy and mental effort and spiritual effort and energetic effort trying to work out something that's already happened that we have absolutely no control over changing. We can't change what happened to us in our lives. We can definitely change what we think about it, or we can decide not to think about it, depending on what it is. So I would say that that's been one of the biggest keys to my spiritual growth, has been being able to let go of things. And it's a work in progress, everyone. It is a constant work in progress, right?
That's why they call this a practice. I have so much to say off of that. To begin with, it's all about meeting yourself exactly where you are today, right now. I was thinking
Yeah.
this morning, as I'm in the midst of this move, obviously my routine has been a little bit different than it normally is. And my spiritual practice this morning looked like drinking a cup of water super slow and like breathing into the moment. Whereas other days it might look like 2 or 3 hours of like mindfulness and movement and all these things. And it's just
Right.
being exact and being happy where you're at. I mean, I'm glad that I even had 5 minutes just to myself to do that with the in the midst of everything that's going on. And another thing that popped up is you gave me a tarot reading just the other day, and one of the cards you pulled was represented this idea of revenge, right? And it said
Mm,
that it's not worth it, just to move
yeah.
on to what forgive,
Yeah.
and move
To
on.
let it go. Yeah.
And that is such a profound thing when you can just forgive somebody for yourself, doesn't even have to be for the other person. You know,
It
it's
isn't. It actually isn't for the other person. And
exactly.
actually, I think that's where we mess up is we actually think it's for the other person. And so sometimes that's why we can't do it because we'll say to ourselves, that's not fair. There's no justice. They don't deserve it,
Yeah.
right? They don't
Yeah.
deserve my forgiveness. But actually, the forgiveness is for you. It's
Yeah.
for you to not have to hold on to that anymore. You can forgive and let go and not have anything to do with anyone if that's what you choose. But the letting go is for you.
Yes.
It's definitely for you.
Which is going to segue me into one of my favorite spiritual practices that has helped me along this way is seeing the lesson in everything, allowing everything in my life to be a teacher
Yeah.
and just being grateful for whatever the lesson is, whether it's something that's hard or sad or grief or whatever, and just allowing the teacher to be the teacher and being grateful for that, regardless of how the situation ends up in my life.
Yeah, that just having a regular practice of gratitude is so, so important to really push us forward to this path. One thing I want to point out on seeing everything as a lesson and having gratitude is we got to make sure and still process the feelings. We got to make sure and process the experience. We don't want to just put a just a label of, oh, that's a great lesson. Thank you for that, when we haven't actually fully worked through it. So do work through the thing before you do that, but absolutely everything is a lesson, because everything that is in our life is for us. Everything is.
Which is one of my other favorite lessons. I know I'm skipping you and going to me back to back, but it's integration, integrating the things in your life and giving yourself the space and time to actually feel the things that are happening. I know that a lot of people in my life in particular, something happens to them and they're just on to the next thing, where it's like, just take a second and let that integrate into your body, mind, and soul.
Yeah, just take a moment, but then do get to the lesson. Do get to the lesson, because there's some little nugget in there that's there for you, or it's some giant lesson, who knows? But when we just jump right past the feelings, or jump right past the lesson, maybe we just feel the feelings but we refuse to see the lesson, we will circle back and have that lesson again in some other way.
Yeah.
So get the lesson, get the lesson. And, a lot of us are really hard headed, and we require, it seems like, our lessons to be learned the hard way. And even just saying that out loud, I've thought about, we've talked in the past about the power of words and the power of intention, and, just the power of will and all of that. So even if I'm saying to myself and saying out loud, hey, I always learn it the hard way. Guess what? I'm going to keep learning it the hard way. It's almost as if I'm calling that out to the universe, that I want my lessons to be learned hard, right? But it's actually not what I want. I actually want to learn my lessons easy, right? So it seems like I do. But actually, the easy lessons and the wins aren't really what teach me. They're really not. So I got to go through the hard ones, what feels like hard ones at times, but at the same time, it is all how you think of it. It literally is.
It really is, and so many times I've gone through like the hard lesson. I'm doing air quotes as I say that, and I realize that it's like I don't have to go through this again now. You know,
Yeah.
like how amazing is this that I'm actually giving myself the time and space to move through this gracefully and not skipping any parts. You know,
Right.
I'm really present with the lesson, with the feelings, with all of it. And guess what? Now I don't have to do that again. You get to take that lesson on words in your life and you can apply it to different things before you have to learn the lesson again, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, our soul wants to grow.
Yeah.
It leans toward growing. It leans toward that. It leans towards progress. So we don't go backwards until or unless we make ourselves go backwards.
Right.
We put ourselves backwards. Otherwise, we're going forward. That's just how life is, right? Just this human game is just like that.
Mhm.
So that's a great one. Okay, so another one I really think is important is to find your limiting beliefs and let them go.
Mm.
Figure out what you're telling yourself that is stopping yourself. Where do your limiting beliefs lie? And there's like different ways you can do this. Maybe you can even just write it out as a list, all the things that you say to yourself that you can't do. I
Yeah.
can't have that. I can't do that. I can't go there. I can't be that. I can't love that. I can't like that. All of that stuff. Figure out what's going on with that, because until you really start to shatter your limiting beliefs and really, really know, first of all, what they are before you can even shatter them.
Right.
But until you start that process, you're not going to become spiritually awake. You're going to be less conscious. You're going to be less aware. You have to notice what stops yourself. Is it just because I don't think I'm worthy of it? Is it because I'm frustrated because I've tried and I've failed? Is it somebody's told me I'm not good enough? Have I received that message somewhere that I can't have this? I can't do this? I can't be that because I've locked myself into a certain circumstance perhaps. And here's the thing, we can choose to be something else. We all have whatever circumstance around us, and sometimes we can't change our circumstance in the moment, but we can always figure out how to look at it differently. And we can definitely figure out what is stopping us from being and doing what we want.
Yeah.
Every one of us has something inside us that's like, hey, I want to do that. I want to be that.
Yeah.
So what stops you? What stops you?
That is a great one. That's a great one. And it really rolls into my next one, which is to be truthful with yourself,
Ah,
with others. And that's where you have to start before you even get to what are my limiting beliefs. It's like, let me kind of strip down and like be super raw and real with myself. Like nothing's off limits. And I just want to, it's like you can be, and here's something that I was thinking about. You can be truthful to yourself, but if you're not being truthful with others as well, you're not being truthful with yourself.
you're
Everything is
not.
just a
Yeah.
mirror, you know? So it
Yeah.
really is, it's a practice, right? Because I mean, how many of us just tell small white lies or have been told small white lies our whole life? And so it's like not a big deal.
Right.
It is a big deal because it's not the truth. And when you start living on the path of truth, everything changes. So it's really just being real with yourself and with the other people in your life.
It's so key. It is literally everything. Just, you know, and if you're finding yourself having a hard time not being truthful with people around you, at least be truthful to you. At least
Yeah,
don't lie to yourself. And
yeah,
that's actually, I think, where you got to start. Because
yes,
what happens, I think, especially with like little lies, is that you tell yourself there's a reason for that. You know your own personal justification for why
right,
you lie.
yeah,
And you chalk it up to this is why I'm lying. It's just easier. I don't want the confrontation. I don't want to hurt the person's feelings. Whatever you make up to yourself, which it's an excuse. You are telling yourself an excuse about why you're letting yourself do this. Okay. Whatever it is, that's fake, y'all. That is fake. You are doing it because you want to.
yeah,
You're choosing it. You're picking it. You don't have to. And there's such a difference between like this whole idea of like, hey, does this look good on me? Does this outfit look good on me? And then I'll ask you, and you'll be like thinking to yourself, not really, but then maybe you don't want to hurt my feelings, and you'd be like, yeah, it looks great. You look great, or whatever. Um, there's such a difference between something like that, um, where actually I do want you to tell me if I don't look good in the thing. I do. But like there's things that we say sometimes to boost people that like, hey, you're looking great or whatever it is that you're trying to boost somebody up. That's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about that. Some because we've even said like, hey, if you don't feel good, put a smile on your face. It's like in a way, does that feel like a lie? Because I'm going to smile. I'm just trying to get my energy. That's not. We're really talking about the things that you say and do that aren't honest. They're not honest inside yourself. You feel like you've gotten away with it inside yourself, gotten away with whatever dishonesty you're doing or whatever. Because again, you tell yourself, but be clear about this. Person you're lying to doesn't care about your justification, actually, especially if they're being hurt by your untruthfulness. They actually don't care about it. It's not important to them. It doesn't matter why you're lying. It really doesn't. And actually, the universe doesn't care why you're lying. So until you can get to yourself and really have that integrity within yourself to be truthful and honest in your every single day, in your dealings with yourself, you're not going to be able to do it with others. But it is so key to spiritual awakening and consciousness. You will not awaken until or unless you really become honest.
yeah. And are you willing to go down a slight rabbit hole on this? If so, wonderful, because I'm gonna say this anyway. In the same tarot reading that I referred to earlier, you read a card to me that was saying something like, and hopefully you remember and you can explain this a little bit better. Let a resting dog rest or something of that sort. And I don't want people to be confused about like
Yes.
withholding of like some things
Okay.
will harm the other person, you know? And
Yeah.
so sometimes it is okay just to let things rest and you don't have to say the thing. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not what we're talking about, and that's not a lie, right? If it's going to be harmful to not tell the person, okay, tell the person. But if it's going to cause them harm, whatever it is that you're telling them, it's okay to let things rest, right? Use your best
Let's give an example to be clear. Let's give a clear example here because this is slightly a slippery slope. I do know where you're going with this
Yes.
because this is like the thing where you're not gonna tell somebody something basically that doesn't need to be said.
Yeah.
It's more that.
Yeah.
It's more that. It's not like you're on it, you're being dishonest or you're lying with omission, meaning you're like not telling them a first piece of information that you know or something like that. It's more like not everything needs to be said.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's say you had a situation where just, your interaction with somebody didn't go down well and their behavior was pretty bad and you know it and they know it. Sometimes you don't need to say it. Do you know what I'm
How
saying?
about this? How
It's
about
the whole "I told you so." How about that one?
yeah.
You actually don't need to say "I told you so."
I'm going to use your example earlier of the outfit. Okay. Hey, do I look good? No, you don't. And now this person's like on their way out the door, and now they have to think like I don't look good all day.
Yeah. It's that. It's that. Yes. Yeah. It's something that, sometimes we just feel like we need to give people our opinions
Mhm.
about them. A
Yeah.
lot of times it's utter comparison where
Hmm.
we're just either comparing ourselves, we wanna make ourselves feel a little bit better, so we're gonna put them down to compare, right? Or we're going to compare them to something negative. That's very, very different. So
Yes.
thank you for pointing that out. That's really not what we're talking about. It's not okay, actually, to just give somebody your opinion unsolicited
Yes.
sometimes
That's exactly right.
about their life or what do you think they should do. It's not that. It's not that.
Well,
When we're talking about being honest with your word. Yeah, be genuine, be empathetic, be compassionate, like say what you feel, say what you think, all of that. But sometimes it's better to just let it be.
yes, and you can feel you've said this to me months ago, like, you can feel the energetic difference between a truth and a lie. If you sit here right now and ask yourself a question and tell yourself the lie version and the truth version, you can feel the difference in your physical body. You
You
really
can.
seriously can, and so, I mean, that's just a practice that you can kind of, um, work with and just so you can tell the difference.
Yeah. I mean, see our video on shadow work.
Yeah.
That's really what we're talking about is facing those really uncomfortable truths sometimes. So truth is everything. That's a great one. What else do we think for our
Um
greatest spiritual practice?
Asking for help when I really truly need it, but not over asking. I mean, I said this to you. It was this same tarot reading I keep referring to, right? I had told you that I had so many signs pop up throughout the day for me, and I didn't feel like I had time to talk to spirit to ask what it was. So I went to you, and in that moment going to you, I heard from spirit, no, you need to look within yourself, like you need to ask yourself. So I just want to clarify that difference too. Sometimes it is carve out the time and really do the work yourself, but
Yeah.
also having the ability to ask for help when you really need it, whether that's looking for a teacher, looking for a mentor, asking a friend, a family member, a loved one, hey, I need help. This has been such a pivotal point in my spiritual practice because it is a wound to be the lone wolf and I can do this all on my own and I don't need
Yeah.
anybody, right? That is like a wound of the heart right there. And so it is just an opening of my heart to the vulnerability, to what's really going on in my life, being truthful with myself, to really recognize, do I need help in this moment? Or is this something I need to go through by myself? This has been such a big part of my spiritual journey is just asking for help when I really need it and leaning
Yeah.
into the help, right? Instead of like there has been also times in my life where I've asked for help and then I haven't like followed through with the help, right? So, yeah, I'll leave that there and you can say,
Yeah, no, I really love that. We need each other.
yeah.
We say this over and over, we're all connected. We go through journeys that we go in this life where we go deep inside of ourselves and we're always having these conversations within, but we're here to connect. That human connection is real and it's needed. And sometimes we just can't get things out. We can't go forward and tell her unless we reach out and connect and get that help. I agree with you. And that help could be in the form of another human. It could be a book. It could be a video. It could be just whatever it is. It could be, conversation with spirit. It could be anything. When we're searching and reaching out for something to help us, the universe is going to put something in our path.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to ask. We'll hear sometimes people say, even like your spirit guides won't intervene until you ask them to.
Yeah.
Ask for their help. I am constantly asking for their help and thanking them. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, spirit guides. Thank you, soul team. Thank you for setting this up for me. Please set this next thing up. Like, I really need your help. So I always am asking the universe for help, but absolutely ask your fellow humans. It's like sometimes you'll have something come up where the person will just pop in your head. And it's like, oh, I should reach out to that person. Do it. Do it. Follow that prompting. That person came to your mind for a reason. Maybe
Yep.
they need your answer. Maybe they have something for you, but maybe you're going to say something to them that they need. Maybe you both have something for each other. So I really love that. That's like super important, is to ask for and get help and find help. I mean, we are all on this journey together and we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Everything is energy. So if you're asking the energy, even just in your physical space, to help you out with something,
Yeah.
you're gonna get it. You're gonna get you get what you ask for. You really do. And
Yeah.
that
We
is
get what you are, right? We get what we are.
yes, which is why your thoughts, all these things matter so, so much.
So, so much, which I think maybe we can wrap it up with maybe the final greatest practice. And I know you're going to agree with me here. That's meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation is so important for spiritual awakening, for spiritual progress, for consciousness. To to find out how conscious you can be, you actually need to go within.
Yeah.
You need to go within. And I know sometimes people have a little bit trouble getting to a quiet mind with
Right.
meditation, because that's really where we're going, is really to silence the mind and get to a state of calm so that we can let energy in, information in, we can let insight in, all of that. And this is in those really, really quiet moments deep inside that we can see the truths of ourselves. We can see those truths. We can see how come we need to let go of that past. We can put it all together, all of those spiritual things that we're working on all come together if we can get our meditation practice going, because
Yeah.
that gives us a moment to integrate, to quiet the mind, to really just be in the moment.
Mhm.
And really, there's so much to learn if we can spend that time with ourselves meditating. So, Shay, how do you begin a meditation practice? What's your advice if I was coming to you and saying, I've never meditated before? What is that? What do I do? How do I even begin?
Find a quiet space, sit down for 1 minute, and watch your breath. That's it. Don't do anything to change your breath. Sit down and bring your full awareness to your breath. 1 minute. That's it. Try that. Next day, increase to 2 minutes. Next day, increase to 3 minutes. Stay at 1 minute for a week if you have to. It's all about training your brain to be able to go to that quiet space. And so many of us, I mean, this world that we live in is like full of stimulus. So it might take you a hot second to even
Right.
penetrate the layer. Give yourself time, give yourself grace. And it's so funny you said that. Listeners, we don't talk about our podcast before we get on here. And so my greatest piece of advice was going to be carve out space for yourself, whether it be 1 minute, whether it be 3 hours, whatever it is, whatever, figure out where you're at today and give yourself what you can do today. And carving out that space is meditation. It is giving yourself the time to sit quietly and go within to yourself. So that is my advice for starting a meditation practice. It's just giving yourself small, small increments of time and just with nothing else around you. You don't need anything, right? Just yourself. Find a comfortable seat. L- Explore different seats. You can be laying down. I mean, this is all a practice, and everybody has different modalities and different ways that work good for them. So try them all. There is no one shoe fits all. No, it's for everything is personal for you. So just try it. Don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is the wrong way. No, we all have our own sacred paths that we're walking down. And so what you do and what works for you is perfect. It's perfect.
Yes.
You know?
Don't let someone be the gatekeeper and tell you you have to be a certain way. You have to do it a certain way. Exactly. Do it how you like. Maybe that meditation is just a quiet walk.
Yep.
Maybe you're having a problem like closing eyes and keeping mind quiet and you just start to flow away. Um, Also, there's other tools you can use. We have guided meditations all over the place that we can find on YouTube. We can find them all over the place, guided meditations. Another one I sometimes have used when I've had trouble quieting the mind is like binaural beats
Yep.
are so cool. There's just this music. Basically, you wear headphones,
Yep.
and the tones coming in each ear are so slightly different that we can't really consciously tell the difference, but our brain can, and it lights up both sides of our brain. And it's just a really cool way to sort of get into a better, higher vibration. So if you're having trouble concentrating, being quiet, maybe headphones and like that meditation music.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a guided meditation just to get yourself used to
Yep.
getting into that state of just being. You're not going to go from never having meditated to go sitting in a cave and meditating for 7 days straight. Like that's not, you can't do that, right?
No.
It is like Shay was saying, just steps, just baby steps. Just take a minute.
Yep.
You'll find out so much about yourself when you start to just honor yourself in this way.
Yeah.
Wherever you can carve out that time. I love that we were in alignment. Essentially, we were saying the same thing to wrap up, right? Like meditate, like be with yourself.
Yeah.
That's super important to spiritual awakening, to spiritual activation, to manifesting that life that you want. You have to be able to go inside and talk to yourself and be at peace with you.
Yes.
All of that stuff we've talked about today is all going to that end state of like peace and bliss within
Yeah.
yourself. That's really what it is.
And it's those moments of quiet when you can really feel the energies. Like I said earlier, whether it's 1 minute, whether it's 1 hour, the energy is clearly different between those two. And you can really get a feel of like what the universal energies are right now in those quiet moments.
Yes. And sometimes we just need to breathe when it's crazy and intense, and the universe has been a little intense lately. And
Yeah.
we do have intense things coming up. So just don't forget to breathe. I think that's why it's so important to carve the time out, because our lives and the reality we're living into might be a little bit nuts at times.
Yeah.
So you need to have that moment for yourself. So if you're going to go on this journey, give yourself that time.
Yeah.
Give it to yourself and don't don't skip it. Don't skip you. Never skip you.
Yeah.
You're the one that's important. You're the prize. You're the being that you're here to progress and transmute, right? You're the one you're here to take care of. So take care of yourself first, always.
Yes. I love you. You're worth it. Protect your peace, and you will get peace back in return.
Absolutely. You are a divine being. You have all the potential. You have infinite potential, and you can do and be anything you want. And we believe in you. We're just sending you love and healing and light. And I'm so grateful to be having this conversation with you and with you, Shay. I'm so grateful for this, because this always just every week that we do this, it just puts me in such a great vibration for the week. And I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, me too. If you are able to, dear listeners, sit up nice and tall. We're just going to take a big inhale, exhale together. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Let it all go. And if that was your only time for peace today, to carve out time for yourself, so be. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm super grateful for you, Shannon, Mother, and for you, listeners, for being here on this journey with us. And we will see you next week.
Sounds good.